Highjump. And what was fascinating about this is that when the Nazis, in their quest for supernatural power, there's a term that you've got to understand as Ahnenerbe. I won't spell it, and that's as close as I can pronounce it in my kind of ill-fated attempt at German. But the point is Hitler sent out a group from the SS scouring the planet. They were scouring it for occult books. They were scouring it for occult technology. They were scouring it for any forms or variation of the Hyperborean, or if you will, the Aryan race, the giants of antiquity, and if you will, the extraterrestrials. They had a library that some claim a lot of what was in Alexandria, Egypt, that was lost was basically given into the realm of the Third Reich. For 5 years, actually probably 6 years, Hitler and the entire Nazi war machine was building an underground impenetrable fortress beneath the Antarctica. They're talking about a combined alien/spiritual entity, extra-dimensional joint venture in the Antarctic. If you understand the ancients prior to Adam and Eve, the Golden Age, the mythological age, these all talked about when God's little g's walked on Earth. The technology of the ancients, the understanding of the ancients, the manipulations of human genomes, and as Adam and Eve were created 6,000 years ago, I'm talking about that stuff that happened before that was left over. And there's even people that are asking me and have asked me, with the Antarctic and all of these underground areas that could have even been protected from the Great Flood, this is where the giants were able to exist? Not all life on the planet was wiped out? I don't know that, but I will say this. I'll say that God in the book of Obadiah, which is an Old Testament prophet, says, though you set your nest amongst the stars, yet will I bring you down. Let's jump back to Antarctica. Antarctica, New Schwabenland, and Schwaben is Schwaben. The Nazi war machine referred to it as Base 211. And Base 211 was in the making for 5 years. Thousands of Germany's most brilliant scientists, 100 U-boats at the end of World War II, officially 1945, disappeared and were unaccounted for. And what's fascinating is when you read and start to investigate this stuff, as I have, and I've referred to it in a cursory form in my book, Genetic Armageddon, because those of you who think Dr. Mengele died in the official records of South America, I will share this with you. His studies and in the ability to even clone humans was accelerated at a rate under the Nazi war machine that very few people recognize. Again, when people say, how far are we advanced into the future, you'll hear people say 50 years, 100 years in advance of current-day technology. No, we are thousands of years advanced in our technology. The problem is you have to go back to the future. So what we're talking about tonight is we're talking about a joint military, industrial, conglomerate deal with extra-dimensionals that were using flying saucers, electrogravitic propulsion, torsional physics, Torsional physics, and laser beams, and that's what Admiral Byrd encountered when he took the ships he took. By the way, there are differing reports. There were 25,000 men. Some people say 12 ships, some say 20 ships. The whole task of Admiral Byrd going to Antarctica in 1947 was to destroy the secret Nazi base. It was supposed to be a 6-month mission. It was basically abandoned after 2 months when the flying saucers that came vertically out of the water, and this is on the, the video that's on my website, stevequayle.com, came out of the water, firing laser beams. They sunk one of the battleships. They took out the Corsairs, and everybody hightailed it and ran. There was a briefing done in Washington when Admiral Byrd made the statement that we will be fighting a war with basically aerial vehicles that can fly from one pole to another, approximately, 25,000 miles in a matter of minutes. Generally, it says in the nick of time, but the bottom line is that further testimony, and this is what got Admiral Byrd silenced in 1957. It's what got James Admiral Forrestal murdered when he was thrown out of the hospital at Bethesda Naval Hospital in Maryland. He was murdered because he and both Byrd wanted to tell the people of the planet what was really going on. Dr. Werner von Braun. Well, von Braun was one of the scientists we got. Imagine multiple hundreds, if not thousands of those guys having unlimited resources and being able to go back and forth to South America unseen in U-boats. And even though U-boats were small, there was a whole lot of commercial boats that were making trips into the southernmost islands in Antarctica, dropping stuff off, and there was a lot of building going on. How big is the complex? I don't know, but I've been told it's massive. I've also been told the way to compare it is to the Russian fortress that's under the mountain in the Ural Mountains, and the name escapes me right now, but we're talking about an underground area that you fly airplanes, or in this case, flying saucers. And by the way, Doug, I use this whole thing as a basis in my book, Long Walkers, which is a fictional novel, and that's the one that I basically deal with what I knew about the giants and ancient technology.